Karen tried to cut art gallery painting, was arrested for vandalism on security footage. What would drive someone to take a blade to a priceless work of art? The gallery was a sanctuary of beauty, its walls adorned with masterpieces that whispered stories of centuries past. On a crisp autumn afternoon, the air buzzed with the quiet reverence of art lovers until Karen stormed in, her heels clicking like a war drum. She was a local socialite, known for her loud opinions and louder outfits, always craving attention. But today, her mission wasn't admiration. It was destruction. With a glint in her eye and a concealed knife in her purse, she approached a 17th-century oil painting, its golden hues glowing under the gallery's soft lights. The artwork, Eternal Dawn, was a celebrated piece by a lesser-known Baroque artist, valued at over $2 million for its intricate depiction of hope rising from chaos. Karen, however, saw it as a symbol of everything she despised: elitism, privilege, and the art world's gatekeepers who had once dismissed her own amateur paintings. Her grudge wasn't new. Months earlier, Karen had submitted her work to the gallery's open call, only to receive a curt rejection letter. Lacking originality, it read. The words burned into her psyche, fueling a vendetta against the institution and its treasures. She'd ranted on social media, calling the gallery a pretentious fortress and vowing to shake things up. Most dismissed her as a loudmouth seeking clout, but Karen was deadly serious. She'd spent weeks planning, studying the gallery's layout, noting the security camera's blind spots, or so she thought. Her target was Eternal Dawn, a painting she'd mocked publicly as overrated scribbles. To her, slashing it would be a statement, a middle finger to the art world's snobbery. As she stood before the painting, her heart raced. The gallery was moderately busy, with tourists and locals milling about. Karen's hand slipped into her purse, fingers curling around the knife's handle. She glanced around, convinced her moment had come. With a swift motion, she drew the blade and lunged, slicing into the canvas. The sound of tearing fabric echoed like a scream. Paint chips fluttered to the floor, and the golden dawn bled streaks of ruin. Gasps erupted from nearby visitors. A young docent, Emily, who'd been explaining the painting's history to a group, froze, her eyes wide with horror. Karen didn't stop. She slashed again, her voice rising in a manic rant. "This is what you get for ignoring me." But Karen's triumph was short-lived. The gallery wasn't as unprepared as she'd assumed. Hidden in plain sight was a new security system, installed after a string of high-profile art vandalism cases worldwide. Cameras, tucked discreetly into the ceiling, captured every move in crisp detail. Within seconds, an alarm blared, and 2 security guards sprinted toward her. Karen, caught in her frenzy, didn't notice until a firm hand grabbed her wrist, twisting the knife free. It clattered to the floor, stained with the painting's vibrant oils. "You're done?" one guard barked, pinning her arms as she thrashed, still shouting about justice and hypocrisy. The crowd parted, some recording on their phones, others whispering in disbelief. Emily, the docent, stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "You didn't just cut a painting. You attacked a piece of history." Here's where the story twists. Unbeknownst to Karen, Emily wasn't just a docent, she was an art restorer, trained to repair damaged works. Her presence was no coincidence. The gallery had hired her after hearing rumors of Karen's online tirades, suspecting she might act on her threats. Emily had been watching Karen from the moment she entered, her instincts sharp. As the guards restrained Karen, Emily knelt by the painting, assessing the damage with a professional eye. The slashes were deep, but not irreparable. "It's salvageable," she whispered to the gallery director, who'd rushed to the scene. The director, A stern woman named Miss Hargrove nodded, her face a mask of controlled fury. She turned to Karen, now handcuffed and glaring defiantly. "You thought you'd make a statement," Miss Hargrove said, "but all you've done is prove your ignorance." The confrontation escalated as police arrived, their radios crackling in the once quiet gallery. Karen's bravado crumbled when she saw the officers. Her shouts turned to pleas. "I was making a point. You don't understand." But the security footage was undeniable, looping on a monitor in the gallery's office. It showed Karen's deliberate approach, her calculated slashes, and her unhinged rant. The crowd outside grew, some shouting insults at Karen as she was led away in cuffs. One bystander, an elderly man who'd visited the gallery for decades, muttered, "She's no artist. She's a vandal." His words stung Karen more than the handcuffs, her face paling as the reality of her actions sank in. Karen's downfall was swift and merciless. The gallery pressed charges, and the case made headlines. Local woman arrested for vandalizing $2 million painting. Social media erupted, with users dubbing her Karen the Canvas Killer. The footage went viral, her rage-filled face plastered across news outlets. At her trial, Karen tried to spin a narrative of artistic rebellion, claiming she was challenging the system. But the prosecution was relentless, presenting the footage and Emily's testimony about the painting's cultural value. The judge, unimpressed by Karen's theatrics, sentenced her to 2 years in prison for felony vandalism and ordered her to pay $50,000 in restitution for the restoration costs. The art world, meanwhile, rallied to save Eternal Dawn. Emily led the restoration, meticulously repairing each slash over 6 months, her hands steady where Karen's had been reckless. As Karen sat in her cell, the world moved on. The gallery hosted a special exhibit, showcasing Eternal Dawn post-restoration, with a plaque detailing its survival. Visitors flocked to see it, not because of Karen's act, but because of the story of Resilience's triumph over destruction. Emily, now a local hero, gave talks about the restoration process, emphasizing the painting's enduring message of hope. Karen's name faded, a footnote in a cautionary tale about ego and envy. Her social media accounts, once filled with rants, went silent, her followers abandoning her for newer scandals. The story of Eternal Dawn reminds us that art, like hope, endures even the most vicious attacks. Karen's attempt to destroy it only amplified its legacy, proving that creation always outlasts chaos. Her punishment was not just a sentence but a mirror held up to her own failure, a reminder that true art uplifts, while vandalism only tears down. What do you think? Did Karen deserve her fate? Or was she a misguided soul lashing out at a world she felt excluded from? Share your thoughts, because stories like these spark debates about art, justice, and the human spirit.